Hi, thank you so much for waiting. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sorry about that. I just didn't want to do it in the car. How you going?
It's going. It's going. Have you been busy all day?
Oh my God, running around like a crazy person. When you've got a premiere in a couple of days, it's just like a lot.
Speaking of the premiere, your documentary Beyond the Grave, absolutely loved it. So I'm
Oh,
really excited
yay.
to speak with you about it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Have you lost somebody close to you before?
Yeah, yeah. I lost my mom, so
Oh
it really,
no,
really
I'm
hit
so
home for part of
sorry.
it. But yeah.
Right. Oh, that's good. I hope it gave you some comfort. That's, I guess, the goal of the movie is to help people to deal better with grief and also to be able to face death better if they're terminally ill or, afraid of it.
Um, so yeah, you mentioned in your documentary that you've always been fascinated with death. Do you remember exactly what sparked that fascination?
Well, it's actually when I was a little girl, I saw a ghost on the stairs of the house that I was living in. And I remember telling my parents and them thinking that I was crazy and that I couldn't have seen a ghost. It must have been my imagination, but I knew that it was real. And I think that that experience really sparked a lifelong fascination with the afterlife for me.
Now, was this fascination, was it some like always in the forefront of your mind, or was it something that was just kind of on the back burner until you decided to make this documentary?
No, I mean, like it's always like whether it's the paranormal, the afterlife, extraterrestrials, and life on other planets. All of those sort of like unusual and hidden things have always interested me. I guess I'm always just searching for like answers about who we are, where we come from, what our purpose is, and this is all part of that.
And those are very big questions for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so what ultimately inspired you to create a documentary?
So I guess we're documentary filmmakers, so that's kind of what we do. But we're always looking to explore topics that we don't feel have been explored enough. And people talk about ghosts and spirits and hauntings and things like that, but they never really delve too deeply into where we go when we die. And so we really wanted to look at every single different modality that we could think of and try and see if there was a common denominator between all of them. So we went to a haunted house, we saw a medium, we spoke to people that have actually died and come back from the other side, trying to see if there was some commonality between what all of these people are saying.
And it was really cool how you were able to find those people. How did you find them?
Well, it all started with Dr. Eben Alexander. So I'd read his book, Proof for Life, a few years previously. And he is a near death experiencer that I always really believed because this was a man that was a famous neurosurgeon and an atheist. So he did not believe in life after death. And he operated on the brain 24/7. That was what he did for a job. So this man did not believe. And then for him to be in a coma for 3 weeks and experience the afterlife and then come back and make convincing people that it exists his mission, to me that was really intriguing, so that's where the journey began.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Were there other people that you considered reaching out to or including in the documentary that you didn't get a chance to?
No, it's really interesting. You find when it comes to people that are talking about extraterrestrials, UFOs, or about death and the afterlife, these people believe what they believe so strongly that they want to share these stories with the world. So these are not private people. They want to share their knowledge. And so I can't think of one person for this documentary that turned us down, even as far as going to Alcor, which is generally quite a private company. They opened their doors to us and showed us everything. So, we've been pretty lucky.
That's awesome. Um, and it's quite an involved documentary because we see you on screen a lot, and usually with documentaries, the filmmaker is behind the camera. So why did you decide to immerse yourself into the documentary, and then what was that process like for you?
So there's a documentary filmmaker that I love. His name's Louis Theroux, and he basically does the same thing that I do. So what he does is he poses a question at the beginning of a documentary, and then you follow him on his journey as he tries to find out what's going on. And I guess that's who I've emulated. So it's more like I want to find out what's happening, so I'm going to go find out, and you can come with me. And I find that it gives the interviews a much more personal touch, because you're really able to give yourself to the person you're interviewing and get, a lot deeper answers than you would if you were just sitting behind a camera producing.
I get that. I get that. And that's definitely what it did.
Yeah.
Followed your journey.
I think, people love reality TV, and they love it because they love seeing human beings doing things. They love seeing people learning how to cook a new recipe or how to make slime or whatever it is. And I guess it's kind of like that was my thought process with it. Let people watch me go on this journey and watch me learn and discover what's going on,
With a topic like this, was it hard for you to do that and have people follow your journey?
It was hard because I've had a few people in my life that I have loved dearly that have passed under pretty tragic circumstances. But I'm an Aquarian, so I kind of share everything. I'm not a very private person, so I had no problems with crying on camera and being vulnerable. We're only human, right?
That's true. That's true. Did you find that this process helped you with the grieving process or any of those feelings?
100%. So I'm someone that's always believed that there was something that. Oh, sorry, I was just checking my battery. I'm always someone that has believed that there is something that happens after we die. I don't think that this life that we live is the only life that we have, but they were just thoughts and feelings that I had. They weren't backed up by any fact, or any proof. And I think along the course of this journey, I was able to experience a lot of things that gave me visual proof, auditory proof, and also just a deep sense of belief. These people that are in the movie, as you've seen, they're not weird, crazy, strange people. They're beautiful, kind, loving, wonderful, intelligent people. And so it definitely solidified my belief. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So in creating this documentary, was there one thing that you learned or that you're going to take with you?
Yes, actually there is. This sounds strange, but because it was only a small part of the movie, but the thing that affected me the most was the death doula. So Mary, who is right at the beginning of the film, because she really made all of us, everyone involved in the film, realize that if somebody is passing, it is very hard for you to handle that yourself. Like if your dad is about to pass away, you're overcome with your own emotions, and it's very hard to deal with the situation. But having someone there that can put on music and light candles and hug family members and pet the loved one that's about to pass on can really make death a beautiful experience instead of it being hysterical and scary and terrifying. So I'm a real advocate for what that woman does, and I think we need a million more of her.
For sure.
Like when your mother passed, do you think that it would have been beneficial if you'd had somebody there to help you and your family to kind of like deal with the situation? Even though it's terrible, we can't get rid of the sadness, but you don't have that support. Everyone's just a mess, So
yeah, we were kind of left on our own, and it for sure would have been nice to have someone to help us in the process, but also to digest what was going on.
exactly. That wasn't part of the grief, so they could kind of take control and look after you a little bit through the process. So that was my big takeaway. I will definitely make sure that is part of any death experience that I have to be part of.
Is there anything that you really hope that people take away from this?
I think so. I don't believe that we're meant to know what happens to us when we die in detail. From all accounts, it seems like after we die, we go to a really amazing place that's filled with happiness, and I don't think that we want to be sitting here on Earth craving that place. In particular, when we're going through a tough time. But I do think that the more that humans understand that there is something else, the less that they'll fear death, and the quicker they'll be able to get over grief. Because what's the point of being in grief for a loved one for years and years and years, and feeling depressed and sad all the time, when you don't have to. If you believe that there's something else and that your loved one's happy, then why grieve?
Right, right. And it's one of those things where like we always tell ourselves like, oh, they're going on to a better place, but like until you experience stuff like what you do with this documentary,
Right.
it's hard to convince yourself of that.
Yeah, you want to believe, but you don't know. And honestly, like, I didn't see massive ghosts coming up to me and shaking my hand, but I heard whispers in my ear. I felt something touch my arm. And then when I sat with the medium and she spoke about my aunt and my cousins by name, and these are people that I've never talked about in public in my life, it was just enough to convince me that this is real, and I hope that when people watch the movie, it can give them that as well. I hope it gave you a little bit of that too.
It did. It did.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Um, so would you work with mediums or with paranormal investigators again?
Oh, definitely. So we're already filming like multiple different documentaries where we're using a few of the people. Again, I felt like with this documentary, because it was segmented into 5 different segments, we only got to shine a light on these people for 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. But we were with them for hours. We were at the Conjuring House for 3 days. So there's just so much. Yeah. And editing was so difficult because there was just so many things that we wanted to share. So no, we are delving now. We're doing a documentary about near-death experiences because we want to learn more about that. And the same with mediumship as well. So they'll be coming soon.
That's awesome. And that's actually a really good segue to my next question. What questions do you still have about death, dying, the afterlife, and all that?
Millions. So with the near-death experiences, what I really want to do is sit down with maybe 20 from different walks of life and really hear their stories in great detail, because what I'm trying to find is a common denominator. I'm trying to pull out all of the similarities that each of these stories have, because I think it's in those similarities we'll be able to, I guess, create a framework for what really does happen when you die. The same with the medium. It's one thing to have a reading, but I want to delve deeper into what she sees. What do these spirits look like that she can see behind me? Can I communicate to them through her? Just take it deeper and deeper and deeper. See how far the rabbit hole goes.
I feel like you'll be digging for quite some time.
Right. Forever.
Content for ages, so.
Well, and I know that I'm going to figure out what happens when you die eventually, because I'm going to die.
That's true.
We all will.
That's kind of all of the questions I have. But is there anything else that you'd like to add about Beyond the Grave?
I just hope that if there's anybody out there that is grieving and really suffering from the loss of a loved one, or if there is someone that is terminally ill and really struggling to come to terms with their mortality, that they watch this documentary, because I know that it will give them comfort, and I know it will give them a greater understanding of what happens to them when they die. But this piece really came from our heart, and we hope that it heals a lot of people. So if you want to watch it, it's out on September the 5th, and it will be available everywhere worldwide. So Amazon, Apple TV, YouTube, all the usual places that you stream movies.
Awesome. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much for chatting with me and for creating the documentary. Again, I loved it and it was very healing.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Take care.
You too.